Picture Odin, chief Norse deity, sashaying onto the battlefield wearing a horned helmet so outrageously extravagant it makes Elton John's wildest stage outfits look like sensible weekday wear. Pop culture, bless its confused heart, has firmly stamped the image of Vikings, and their gods, as the original horn-wearing fashion icons. But here's the kicker. The whole horned helmet idea didn't come from ancient myths. It was a 19th century opera costume designer's attempt to give Wagner a little extra wow. Archaeologists, those party poopers of history, have uncovered precisely zero evidence of Vikings sporting horned helmets. Actual Viking headgear? Practical, streamlined, and about as horn-free as IKEA's simplest flat pack. Because honestly, horns would make hugs awkward and doorways even worse. Just imagine Odin trying to squeeze into Valhalla's Great Hall. Helmet racks would need a serious upgrade. As for Odin himself, Norse lore rarely, if ever, shows him flaunting horns. Instead, the real helmets were iron, conical, or rounded. More functional warrior than fashion runway. So unless your next raid doubles as a cosplay convention, maybe save the horns for Comic-Con. While many imagine Odin with a distinctive helmet, his identity wasn't limited to just his appearance, but extended into his role in warfare. Think Odin just waved a sword and yelled, "Valhalla!" all day? Please. If that were his entire act, Asgard would have sunk under a mountain of paperwork and endless shouting matches. The popular image slaps Odin into a one-note role, gruff god of war with a booming bellow and a beard. But in reality, Odin's resume reads like the fever dream of a Norse legend. Wisdom, magic, poetry, and an unsettling habit of chilling with the dead. Seriously, he sacrificed his own eye for knowledge. Talk about dedication. Warby Parker should be sending him a lifetime membership by now. Odin wasn't just the patron saint of rowdy berserkers. Artists, outcasts, and anyone with a flair for the dramatic found a kindred spirit in Mr. One-Eyed Wonder. He's the OG shapeshifter, slipping between worlds and hoarding secrets like a Norse Google on a mythic all-nighter. While others were busy swinging axes, Odin was busy plotting 3 moves ahead, playing 4D chess in a universe obsessed with clubbing stuff. Move over, Marvel. The real Odin's all brains, mystery, and multitasking wizardry. Although Odin is primarily known as a god of war, his wisdom and sacrifices reveal a deeper complexity beyond mere battle prowess. Imagine wandering into your local toll booth, except instead of dropping coins, the price is an eyeball, and the toll's reward is eternal wisdom. Odin, king of the Norse gods, wasn't satisfied with just eavesdropping on Asgard's latest brunch gossip. No, he craved the cosmic scoop. So he hiked over to Mimir's well, a mystical spring said to grant wisdom for a steep price. And no, Apple Pay wasn't accepted. Mimir, the well's perpetually cranky guardian, demanded one good eyeball. Odin, never one to get squeamish, plucked out an eye and dropped it in without so much as a blink. The payoff? Forget immortality. Odin scored wisdom ranking higher than any Google search, though he probably missed reading the fine print. Hence, he became the infamous one-eyed allfather, the bane of optometrists everywhere. Sure, he lost depth perception, but he gained insights sharper than his spear. Gungnir. Pretty handy, unless he was trying to parallel park a chariot. After trading his eye for immortality and knowledge, one might not expect Odin to be a compassionate family man. Yet his myths tell a different story. If you think Odin was the Norse poster dad for world's best dad, pause before knitting him that Father's Day sweater. Pop culture paints Odin as the ultimate patriarch. Majestic beard, kindly gaze, tirelessly looking out for Queen Frigg and his beloved sons Thor and Balder. Cute, and also almost pure myth. In the sagas, Odin's priorities hovered somewhere between searching for wisdom and networking with giants and gorgeous goddesses. If Valhalla had a PTA, Odin would RSVP maybe, and then vanish without a trace. His so-called family time was often hijacked by urgent meetings with seeresses, Valkyries, and the occasional Jotun. With more kids than a modest fjord village, Odin's family reunions needed multiple guest lists, and probably a fire warden. Father-son bonding? For Odin, that translated as prevent Ragnarok, instead of playing catch. Loki's daddy issues are legendary. Really, don't ask. In any therapy session, Odin would probably blame it all on runic miscommunication. Wait, I thought you understood sacrifice, literally. Odin's affection extends not only to family, but also to the warriors whose fates he determines in Valhalla. Imagine Odin as the universe's busiest bouncer, guarding the velvet rope outside Valhalla, the ultimate afterlife VIP lounge, raising a majestic eyebrow at every battered Viking who staggers up, axe in hand. The popular image: Odin, clipboard in hand, personally sifting through the casualties like a one-eyed club manager, handpicking each guest for the eternal rave. Mythology loves this: the Allfather meticulously combing battlefields, nodding sagely whenever someone's death hits extra medal status. But let's put that battle axe where it belongs. In the Norse sagas, the real talent scouts are the Valkyries, Odin's winged HR squad. These fierce femmes decide who lives, who dies, and who scores that afterlife upgrade, sometimes even rerouting warriors to Freya's place. Odin? More CEO than headhunter, only stepping in for special cases. Honestly, with the Vikings inventing fresh ways to die by the minute, Odin personally interviewing every applicant would have turned Valhalla into Val bureaucracy. Even he knew delegation was key, or those eye bags would have needed their own epic saga. The image of Odin selecting fallen warriors is complemented by his iconic appearance, including his big, bushy white beard. Picture Odin, Norse allfather and godly ruler, dramatically flipping his mane on a stormy fjord for a Viking shampoo commercial. The camera zooms in. Behold a snow-white beard so glorious it makes every hipster and Santa Claus green with envy. But hold your beard, envy horses. This image isn't etched in runestone. Despite modern pop culture anointing Odin as the ultimate wizard beard prototype, early Norse tales barely mention his facial hair. The sagas obsess over his eye patch, shape-shifting antics, and magic cloak, not his mustache parting skills. Victorian craftsmen and comic book illustrators get the credit, or blame, for turning Odin into the lumberjack icon of Valhalla. If Odin had a beard care routine, it probably involved magical runes and a squirrel brush. Or maybe nothing at all. Allfather was never all beard. Sorry, Gandalf, Odin rocked the look first, centuries before it was cool. Turns out, no source confirms if Asgard's king was more dapper than Grizzly Adams or downright bare-chinned. Verdict? The jury's still out, and beard balm brands just missed a legendary endorsement. Behind that venerable white beard, Odin was often accompanied by loyal companions such as wolves when riding into battle. Picture this: chief god Odin charging into battle, not flanked by a golden retriever wagging politely, but escorted by wolves who scream less "fetch" and more "fetch the kingdom," raw and unleashed. Forget loyal lapdogs. Odin's entourage consists of Gary and Freki, not some mutts he picked up scavenging Valhalla's dumpsters. If dogs are man's best friend, wolves are Odin's ride-or-die Uber drivers with a taste for conquest. These aren't just pets. Jerry and Freki are snarling mascots of Norse power, cunning, and an Olympic-level appetite for meat. Wolves, to the Norse, were the poster creatures of untamed ferocity and bottomless stomachs, qualities Odin clearly admired more than polite dinner etiquette. While other gods cooed over doves and preened with peacocks, Odin swaggered into meetings flanked by his steak-devouring bodyguards. Jerry and Freki weren't mere accessories. They were Odin's living, breathing muscle and mouthpieces, ensuring everyone remembered who owned the battlefield. And the buffet. So next time someone claims Norse gods always played fair, remind them Odin pretty much brought a four-legged cheat code to every celestial dodgeball match. In Norse mythology, animals weren't sidekicks. They were teeth with tails and a seriously fierce attitude. While he had fierce animal allies by his side, Odin's powers also encompass grander deeds, including creating the world. Picture Odin as a one-man world-building machine, hammer in one hand and IKEA instructions in the other. Legend has it he whipped up the universe solo, Midgard, Asgard, Valhalla, all before dinner. Cute image, but about as reliable as a GPS in the Bermuda Triangle. Here's the real scoop. Odin wasn't a lone wolf. He teamed up with his brothers Vili and Vi, the original Norse DIY trio. Together, they didn't just beat the primordial giant Ymir, they upcycled him. Ymir's skull? Boom, instant sky. Blood? Voila, you're see. Flesh, bones, even his eyebrows, nothing wasted. Martha Stewart would ask, who's your supplier? And let's not forget the cosmic cow Audumla, who deserves way more spotlight than a cameo role. So yes, Odin was a big deal. But Norse world-building wasn't a solo gig. It was a blockbuster boy band production. If Odin had gone solo, we'd all be stuck with flat-packed Midgard, assembly rage and missing screws guaranteed. Though famed as a creator god, stories sometimes mistakenly attribute the mighty hammer Mjolnir to Odin instead of its rightful owner. Picture Odin crashing a godly potluck, swinging Mjolnir like he just raided Thor's garage sale. The whispers spread fast. Since when does the Allfather haul a thunderhammer? Did the Norse gods get a makeover? It's an easy mix-up. Plenty of mortals lump the Norse gear locker together, assuming Odin rocks Mjolnir because, well, if it's cool and Norse, it must be his, right? Nope. Odin's all about that spear swagger. His trusty Gungnir is the brooding king's signature, complete with ravens, not hammers with lightning endorsements. Meanwhile, Mjolnir sticks to Thor like neon tights to 80s wrestling. Only Thor, and a lucky Worthy or Loki on a mischief kick, can handle the hammer. No saga ever has Odin borrowing it for a joyride. Really, Odin wielding Mjolnir would be like Santa snagging the Easter Bunny's basket. Festive, but fundamentally off-brand. Mix up Odin and Thor, and Asgard might need couples therapy. Bottom line, there's room for one hammer wielder in the family photo, and it's definitely not Odin. Holding Thor's hammer might suggest immense power, paralleling the belief that Odin is immortal and cannot die. Let's talk about Odin, the Allfather, with what looks like an all-access immortality pass, or so the tabloids would have you believe. Pop culture loves to cast Odin as some kind of celestial VIP, Thor's dad rocking a platinum health bar and a heavenly beard oil endorsement deal. But hold your flying ravens. Norse mythology has a more complicated fine print, about as long and twisty as one of Odin's legendary beard braids. See, Odin hustles hard to dodge death. He gambled away his own eye for wisdom. Imagine a blackjack player sacrificing chips for a crystal ball, and religiously snacks on Idun's golden apples. These aren't your run-of-the-mill apples. They're Norse superfoods, keeping the gods spry like they've just discovered ancient yoga. Yet even with his divine wellness routine, fate is no easy client. Ragnarok is on the horizon, and Fenrir, the world's hairiest bad dog, is eagerly eyeing one Allfather-sized chew toy. Bottom line, Odin's retirement plan makes your average gym membership look generous. Norse gods are powerful, sure, but doomed, proving that immortality here is less lifetime guarantee and more limited time offer with strict return policy. Odin's undying nature is matched by his supposed ability to see all things everywhere simultaneously. Imagine being on everyone's Find My Friends app at once. Odin's got you beat, and he's not even charging for premium features. The popular myth? Odin, the Norse Allfather, is basically the universe's nosiest neighbor, keeping cosmic tabs on every mortal and every goat. Why? Because he's got Hugin and Munin, his superstar ravens, flapping around like feathered Norse security cams, delivering news from all 9 realms. And who knows, maybe a few sponsored ads. Folks think Odin just closes his one eye and instantly streams the cosmos in glorious 4K omniscience. But here's the kicker. Even gods have to outsource surveillance. Hugin and Munin are the original, slightly ominous Google Street View. More cawing, less pixelation. The real deal? Odin's wisdom isn't just data mined. He earns it, often at a steep, very eye-watering price. Spoiler alert, that missing eye didn't just wander off. True omniscience is for marketing algorithms, not even for gods. If Odin saw everything, trust me, he'd have shut down Viking helmet horns before they ever went viral. In the end, Odin's power isn't about peeking into the void. It's about the ancient art of sacrifice, and apparently, the eternal mystery of the missing eye. His omnipresence and wisdom lend to the idea that Odin's magic is fantastical, comparable to the magic depicted in stories like Harry Potter. Imagine Odin whipping out a wand and bellowing, "Expelliarmus!" at a frost giant. Absurd? Absolutely. Yet mythic whispers sometimes hint that Odin's magic had a whiff of Harry Potter-style spell slinging, wands waving, Latin incantations echoing through Valhalla. But Norse legend gives us a scruffier, brawnier sorcerer. Odin didn't need wands. He wielded runes, ancient symbols with a side effect as brutal as a frost giant punch. Migraines, if mispronounced. Odin's magical resume wasn't built on passing standardized tests, but surviving extreme self-improvement, hanging 9 nights on the world tree, sacrificing an eye, and probably dodging enough branch splinters to demand hazard pay. Shape-shifting? No invisibility cloak required, just pure divine audacity. His powers centered on wisdom, war, runes, and inspiring poetry. No magical dueling clubs or Quidditch matches on the schedule. Now, if Odin conjured a Patronus, it'd be an 8-legged horse. Try maneuvering that down Hogwarts corridors. Forget the sorting hat. Norse gods already know their in-house battle axe. And while Hermione needed a time-turner permit, Odin bent time with runes like a party trick. Verdict: he'd flatten Gryffindor, but probably forget to bring his own wand. Despite his magical prowess, Odin is often thought to be a deity confined solely to Viking culture. If you ever pictured Odin lounging in a Viking longhouse, sipping mead and hanging out exclusively with burly Norsemen, think again. The popular myth casts him as the ultimate Viking poster god, but Odin was multicultural long before it was trendy. His roots go back to the Proto-Germanic deity Wodan, or Wotan, way before Scandinavia got cool with longships and dragon boats. Across Europe, Germanic tribes were already fangirling over Odin. From the foggy moors of Anglo-Saxon England to the sunny shores of Lombard Italy, everyone had their own remix of him. If Odin earned frequent flyer miles, he'd eclipse all the Vikings combined. Roman historians were already scribbling notes about Odin-type war gods before the first Viking even buttered rye bread. Odin's mythic resume, shapeshifter, necromancer, poet, made him the original influencer. Wodan Wanderlust. So, while Viking helmets dominate Odin fan club meetings, don't be surprised if Germanic warlords, adventurous poets, and the occasional Anglo-Saxon bard RSVP as well. Odin, not just a Viking icon, but history's pan-Germanic superstar. Within that cultural context, Odin's complex relationships include legendary friendships, such as that with Loki. Picture the Norse god's annual friendship brunch. Odin and Loki, clinking bottomless mead mugs and sharing inside jokes about the world's impending doom. If you trust Hollywood, Odin's the wise, majestic dad, and Loki the rakish, lovable sidekick. The Asgardian version of a road trip comedy. Cue hearty laughs as Thor insists on ordering pancakes for the whole table. Reality? Think less bromance and more Game of Thrones season finale. Odin and Loki did seal a blood pact. Yes, actual blood, because Viking sentimentality meant business. But this wasn't a Hallmark moment, more like a corporate merger. I promise not to backstab you, unless it's Tuesday. Odin kept Loki around because he was useful in a pinch, like that friend who can fix any crisis, but you'll regret lending him your car keys. As Loki's antics escalated from mildly annoying to world-ending homicide, R.I.P. Baldur, their brunch vibe? Utterly hostile. By Ragnarok, forget friendship bracelets. These two weren't swapping BFF necklaces. Their bond was forged from necessity, not Netflix buddy comedy magic. If Odin and Loki had Facebook, their relationship status would read, "It's complicated," with scheduled betrayals. Even with strong bonds, Odin's character is sometimes misrepresented as endlessly ruthless and savage. Brace yourself. It's time to shatter Odin's rep as the Norse galaxy's wildest barbarian. You've seen the memes: one eye, ravens on his shoulders, wolves at his heels, and a resume that reads like Mad Max collided with a philosophy professor who really needs anger management. Pop culture loves to cast him as a Game of Thrones dropout on a berserker bender, axes flying, fights starting, and impalements counted like calories at a Viking buffet. But here's the plot twist. The original Norse sagas show Odin less as a blood-soaked lunatic and more as the ultimate chess grandmaster. Sure, he started wars, but usually by whispering crafty advice into some poor king's ear, rather than smashing heads himself. His brand of ruthlessness included the world's weirdest spa day, impaling himself on Yggdrasil in a wisdom-induced self-care ritual. Talk about dedication to personal growth. Odin didn't just break the rules, he invented new ones, then gleefully shattered those too. So yes, he could be ruthless. But always savage? Not quite. Sometimes, Odin outfoxed everyone with words sharper than any spear, a true mental heavyweight in a land full of thunderous brawn. Beyond a savage reputation, stories also explore Odin's unique power to alter his destiny at will. Ever wish you could hit undo on your worst decisions? Odin, king of the Norse gods, gets way too much credit for rewriting fate, as if he's the divine IT guy with unlimited restore from backup privileges. Popular myth has it that Odin ran the show. If destiny wasn't vibing with him, he'd just zap the timeline and hit reset. If that were true, Ragnarok would have been postponed until, say, pigs learned to fly through Yggdrasil. But the reality? Much messier and less convenient for Odin. Norse mythology is packed with prophecies the Allfather twists himself into knots trying to dodge, by dramatically sacrificing bits of himself, rather than simply pressing a cosmic Ctrl+Z. Turns out, the real bosses are the Norns, cosmic admin queens wielding scissors sharp enough to make even Thor sweat, completely unmoved by Odin's pleas. He wasn't rewriting fate, he was just refreshing the prophecy page, begging for a plot twist. Bottom line, Odin's the most ambitious student in class, but fate never lets him grade his own paper.